Video 3.1, How do you recognize negative self-talk? Positive thinking helps us with stress management and can improve our health, but practicing positive thinking can also improve us as leaders. Positive thinking does not mean you keep your head up in the clouds and ignore unpleasant situations. It means that you approach the hard stuff in a more positive and productive way. This type of thinking starts with self-talk. That endless string of unspoken thoughts, both positive and negative, that run through your head. Some self-talk comes from prior experiences, logic, reasoning. Other self-talk may come from misconceptions, lack of information, and lack of experience. There are several types of negative self-talk that we tend to encounter in our own minds. The first one is personalizing. We are assuming too much responsibility for things that are outside of our control, and we blame ourselves when things don't turn out as they should have. For example, your employee makes a crucial mistake at the end of a presentation for a new potential client, and you think to yourself, if only I had sat in on the presentation rehearsal when she asked me to yesterday, then she would have gotten it right. In reality, who knows what caused the mistake, and if your actions would have changed the outcome of the meeting. Maybe the client didn't even notice it. Another example, you text a group of friends to meet you for dinner, and everyone, it seems, is taking longer than normal to reply. You think everyone is mad at me, or clearly they don't want to be friends with me anymore, or what did I do? And you notice yourself slipping into the it's me mindset. You have to ask yourself, 1, is there evidence to support the thoughts you are having? And 2, is the thought factual, or is it just your inner voice interpreting things? Number 2, polarizing. When you polarize, you only see things as good or bad. There is no gray area. There is no middle ground. You either have to be perfect or it's a total failure. In these situations, you must treat yourself with grace and kindness. And if you don't do something perfectly, you need to remind yourself that you're only human and you are allowed to make choices and cater to your own needs at the moment. And you can view the setback as motivation to keep trying or a learning experience. When you find yourself slipping into that life has to be perfect or else box, stop, make some positive affirmations, breathe, and then put a positive spin on them. Number 3, catastrophizing. When you automatically assume the worst, you are catastrophizing. For example, on the way to the office, the car in front of you stalls in your lane. There's so much traffic you can't get around them, and you automatically assume that you're going to be stuck for hours. When this happens, you need to stop, breathe, and put things into perspective. Are you uncomfortable with the situation, or is it truly a catastrophe? The next one is filtering. You magnify the negative aspects of a situation and filter out the positive ones. For example, you run $50 over budget and dwell on that instead of acknowledging and recognizing that you still managed to put away $200 in savings. Every accomplishment, no matter how big or small, can outweigh the negative. When you find yourself filtering your accomplishments, try and jot down all of the things that have gone right recently, and you'll slowly realize that things may not be as bad as they seem. Magnifying. You take your mistakes or your flaws and exaggerate them. Often, magnification takes the form of catastrophizing, taking small negative events and turning them into disasters in our own minds. After feeling a small heart flutter, you think to yourself, what's wrong with my heart? Am I having a heart attack? Do I need to get to the ER? You start Googling symptoms. Something that has to do with your health is serious. It's important to really look at it in perspective. Did you eat something spicy? Did you overexert yourself? Is there another reason you're not feeling good? Write down your symptoms, and if they get worse, absolutely go to the doctor. If it's an emergency, call 911, but make sure that you aren't making something small into something larger than it should be. Minimization and self-limiting talk. Minimization is the mirror image of magnification and focuses on being dismissive of our own strengths and positive qualities. Jumping to conclusions or mind reading. While it might not seem like it at first, assuming we can understand what other people are thinking without having any evidence is a form of negative self talk. If you're in a meeting and your boss is looking at her phone and you say to yourself, "She's bored, I knew that we shouldn't have had this meeting," you will start to feel inadequate and self doubt, when in fact, the reason that she's looking at her phone probably has nothing to do with you or the meeting. When this situation happens, continue your focus. In this situation, the reason you were hired for the job was that you could pick up the torch and carry on when your boss can't. So keep marching forward.